and I turn on the fourth quarter of the Knicks-Lakers game. And then I see CP the Fanchise with like 1,000 people at a party. And I have to admit, CP, and by the way, CP the Fanchise, in my opinion, the voice of the Knicks fan. That's who you are. And you can check him out, YouTube. He's got his Knicks Fan TV channel. I am a big fan of yours. But I got to tell you, you had all those people there watching your team lose.
But it wasn't a bad game. It wasn't like they got blown out.
No.
And by the way, we were just talking about this before we came on air. They have so many injuries. Like, the guys that matter are not there right now.
What, are you writing excuses now?
I'm not writing. I'm just talking facts, bro.
But that is your favorite part of Knicks Fan TV is when the Knicks lose.
I know, exactly.
Right? So things have been going so well. I knew we wouldn't hear from you during the 9-game winning streak.
I barely watched. No,
I knew it. I know. But listen, you can't win them all. They played a hot Laker team. That Laker team just beat Boston without LeBron and AD on the road. This Knicks team had been punching over their weight for a little while. They were due for a loss.
You know what was crazy about that? And I got this sense, watching the game, and I admit, I only watched the fourth quarter on TV, and then I'm on social media. I got the sense that game was like a finals feel between the ticket in that building and how expensive it was, between an event you're running, you had a ton of people there. Yeah. And I'm not saying that, jokes aside, that loss don't mean anything. I'll be the first to tell you.
No. Right.
But that had like that Garden feel of, holy crap, this is the event in New York City. LeBron, the Garden, the winning streak. It was kind of crazy.
Makes you wonder why you support that team in Brooklyn, right?
Because we're losers, CP.
A 9-game winning streak in January, and it is Super Bowl level hysteria in New York.
It was, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's because our Super Bowl potential team stinks in New York. We're so far away from being in that game that let's talk about something else. Wait, who did the Mets sign? Wait, who did the Yankees just pick up again?
But I think it's a combination of, yes, the 9-game winning streak. Yeah. They're playing well. I also think there's a belief in this team that we haven't had with past Knicks playoff teams. And I also think just the idea of LeBron coming to town and the fact that he was pulling this.
You mean coming to town to play, not coming to town to be?
No, coming to town to play.
But he did have the Knick talent.
Well, and then simultaneously clowning everybody by saying, I'm going orange and blue. And I got the tweet from a few days ago, like, this dude's playing games. That's the way I took it.
Which he's always done with the Knicks, which is why I'm so tired of the LeBron theatrics. Is he leaving the Lakers? Is he coming to the Knicks? Look, LeBron James does this every time he wants the Lakers to go out there and make a move. This is to put pressure on Rob Pelinka and their regime to go out there and go get DeJounte Murray or a player of that caliber.
Yeah, but you don't want him here, right?
No, absolutely not. That would be same old Knicks. Why do we want that?
You don't want him here because, and by the way, I want to make this clear. It's not realistic. I'm completely with you. There's no way the Lakers are trading LeBron. I don't even think he wants out. But you don't want him here because of the fit and from a basketball standpoint, or you don't want him here because he said no to you twice and he's LeBron. Which one? Is it both?
It's not from spite. It's not from spite.
Okay.
This is a recipe for disaster. Look how many games he misses now.
I totally get it, yes.
Right? He's still at the top of the sport, which is fantastic. We should celebrate him that way because I don't think there's going to be another for the next few generations. But he's injury prone now. He's older. And now for the Knicks to go out there, sell the farm to get him, and then the whole story be about him, that would just reverse course on all the good vibes right now. It's orange and blue skies right now, Evan. I mean, as a season ticket holder, you should be happy.
He is a free agent.
I am sometimes.
Like he has a player option, which is 9 or something like
Roughly.
that next year.
Yeah.
So he has the player option. In theory, he's a free agent. So if you're the Lakers and you have this guy, he's 38?
39.
39.
He's even older, yeah.
Right? If you can get some value I'm just talking about from a Lakers standpoint. If you get some value for LeBron James, you're 500 at this point. Wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? The question is from the Knicks standpoint, does it make sense? And I know last week we talked about the money, but I went and played on that thing. You'd
have to include Julius Randle on a trade like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I wonder from Knicks fans, is that acceptable? Or is Julius, we got to find out, regular season, it's going to flip. Like this postseason Randle's going to go away. We're going to get the real postseason Randle. Or how about I take postseason LeBron? I'm just being a devil's advocate here because it does make sense. Get Randle, get Fournier. Maybe you don't even need another piece, to be honest with you. You barely need draft picks. It's just a matter of what the preference would be for the Lakers. But, like, in theory, doesn't that get you a championship in the window? You know I'm just talking devil's advocate.
You know why you put CP in a tough spot?
Yeah.
Because me and him, we may disagree on a lot.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff we agree on. And you know what CP is? He's a Julius Randle non-believer. Tell him, CP, you don't believe in
Listen,
Julius.
I might not be able to go back to my own show after
He's like,
today.
amen, Tiki. Preach. Go ahead.
Look, I might not be able to go back to my own show after today, but you're all right. I do believe that, listen, all the regular season hype about Julius Randle, it's warranted. He's great. He's played at an all-star level, although he's injured right now. In the playoffs, that's where the question marks begin. And now it's even a bigger question mark because we don't know the status of Julius Randle. I had Steph Bond, he covers the team for the Post on. We had him on today during our afternoon show, and he said, look, the team is optimistic about him returning, but the fact that he's foregoing the surgery, they're optimistic, but it also presents an opportunity for him to hurt himself again if he comes back and dislocate his shoulder again.
The surgery kicks him out for the season?
That's the fear. That's the fear.
I mean, I could see that. Though. Well, I could see why you wouldn't want to have the surgery if you're Randle.
So here's the thing about Julius, because I don't think this is a contradiction from you and I at all. Yeah. The Knicks need Julius Randle healthy. Let's just put that out there.
Absolutely.
As much as I may be skeptical about him in the playoffs, or you may be skeptical, we're stupid if we're like, they don't need him. They obviously need him. This whole thing feels very, very strange to me. I'm just being honest with you. From days after that injury, for there to be no update, to then have the update simply be, we'll call you in 2 weeks, reeks of they're not telling us what they know. Yeah. Well, and I'll defend the Knicks on this.
But I don't think they know anything. Honestly, I don't.
You don't think they know more than what they've let on to all of us?
Well, you just don't know how your body's going to respond. Like, everybody's body is different. Right. Like, some guys get a hyperextended shoulder or an elbow or whatever, and they're out for a month. Other guys be like, all right, whatever. Screw it. Tape it up. Let's go. Right, so I think it's just different. Your body resists or accepts trauma differently. So they honestly don't know.
Do you think that?
I think it could be a situation where they're waiting to see how it heals within that 2 to 3 week time span, reevaluate and see. Maybe surgery still is on the table. I mean, you hope not, but you're right. It is kind of sketchy.
It's sketchy, and also, here's where I commend them, though. The trade deadline's on Thursday. They have no reason to announce to us, as much as we may want to know or fans may want to know, they have no reason to announce to their rivals what the deal is.
Right.
Because I don't know how you feel about this. Randle being out for the season versus Randle being back in 4 weeks would change your approach at the trade deadline. I think it would a little bit. So why tell the world his status? So I'm not telling you he's out for the year. What I'm telling you is I'm very skeptical about what they've told us right now because I don't think they have any reason to tell us anything. And I think I wouldn't work under the assumption, he'll definitely be back. I can't live like that, would you?
It's a hard call, but I don't necessarily think that their approach to the trade deadline changes whether or not Julius Randle comes back. The Knicks have always taken a prudent approach at the trade deadline. It was Derrick Rose. It was Cam Reddish. It was Josh Hart. They always try to get the guy at their price. And so with Julius, if he is to miss the season, it just depends on who's available. I don't think there's that guy who can equal Julius Randle's value and impact and importance to this team that you can just go out there and justify trading a couple first-round picks because they still have the bigger picture in mind. So I still think that the candidates will be a Brogdon, maybe it's a Burks, maybe it's a Clarkson, someone they can get on the cheap and just hope that they can tread water till then.
Yeah, we were guessing the other day, what's the date he comes back? And my guess was final 2 days of the season. Because I think Julius, I respect him in that. I think he wants to play. I think even if he's told you're better off having the surgery, I get the sense from him he's going to be like, screw it. I just want to find a way to get out there. So my guess was final few games of the year.
Yeah, I said the 23rd. That's the Nets game.
In March.
So
that's
March
the final
23rd.
3 weeks of the season or so. I'm going April 12th. You had to guess right now.
Also a Brooklyn Nets game.
All right, well, that has nothing to do with it. You think I give a crap?
I don't know. It's just coincidental.
To bury the Nets some more.
Trust me, they're already buried.
Yeah. Order is restored in the city of New York. I love it.
What's the date you would guess then?
I would say April. I think April.
You're with me on this.
Yeah. But the biggest question is when he comes back, is he the same player?
Yeah.
Because this is the player who, before he left, he was a bully.
Yeah.
He's attacking the paint. He's getting to the basket. He's drawing fouls, right?
Right, now you become one-sided, right?
Now you're down your non-shooting shoulder, but does that change how physical you are in the game and how you brace the fall and things of that nature?
Well, forget the fall. Think about the physicality, the leaning into the guy. Now you're like, that's going to hurt a little bit
let me
if I do that.
second guess.
In fact, let me just fade away here.
Right.
And it's a different game.
Then he turns into the bad Julius.
Exactly. It's almost
right.
set up to become that, which is unbelievable. It's the key to everything. Like, I really do. I think that, and I give them a lot of credit because they've won a lot of games shorthanded. The Indiana game last week, all the credit in the world. Yeah. The Laker game, look, they ran out of gas and they were shorthanded again. But it's going to be difficult, especially when you see all the doubles that Jalen saw on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Like, that's just going to continue without Randle on the floor.
You need another score. You need another creative score. It's one thing to have guys that can put the ball in the bucket. You got to have guys that can create on their own. And right now, there's not. Right. I love what, DiVincenzo is doing because he's just jacking up threes, even though they made 6 of them out of the 15, 6, however many he took. But at least he's taking them. It forces you to defend them.
Yeah.
And so, but they need scoring, right? And we knew it was going to come to a head at some point, and unfortunately it happened against the Lakers in a primetime game, or at least one that everybody was paying attention to. So, but it doesn't mean that they're done. It just means they got to retool. Doesn't it make it more urgent at the trade deadline? To me, it feels like it definitely does.
I just think it depends on who's there, right? You're hearing names like Bruce Brown and P.J. Washington. You hear about those guys today, but none of those guys are moving the needle. Even a Brogdon or a Burks, like those guys would be nice bench pieces,
right?
And it will help you get Brunson a little bit of rest on the bench by having some reliable scoring and playmaking in your lineup. But I don't think either one of those guys are going to make the Knicks' path to the Eastern Conference Finals and beyond a sure thing. They still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I think the way I would view it with pieces is if I acquire a guy, is that guy playing in the final 5 minutes of a close playoff game? That's the key question. Because if he's not, then he's here for the regular season. He's here to help you without Julius and maybe without OG Anunoby because who knows when he's coming back. The Knicks give updates on injuries. They're like hockey teams. Right. Isn't that what NHL teams do?
Upper body,
lower body. We'll give you no details. And the Knicks give you nothing. That's why when OG first went down, I remember even saying on the air, day to day, it's minor. Now it's been a week.
It's a concern, man, because we saw him in the shoot-around against the Charlotte Hornets, and they were like, well, he's going to be out for this game. Then they had the back-to-back, and you're thinking, okay, maybe he's back the next night. He's not there. And this is a player with injury history,
right.
So that was one of the concerns of the trade.
What have they said?
They said
elbow inflammation.
Yeah, elbow inflammation day to day. That's the update.
Yeah. He's missed about 3 games now.
See, this is the part when the Knicks don't tell you stuff, you get annoyed. You have to. I get it sometimes, but it's annoying. As a fan, you want to know.
It is. It's a little concerning, but at the end of the day, look, they're 32-18. They're headed into the All-Star break. You get a week off. You hope that Julius rests up some more, OG heals up, Quentin Grimes heals up, and then they continue on in the second half, hopefully with some bench upgrades by the deadline.
Yeah, so if you fit that test of can that guy play 5 minutes to go in a playoff game, which is just the way I'm viewing it, because then you're getting somebody that impacts your chances of winning, especially if you're going to give up a valuable first-round pick. Like I'd only be willing to give it up if that guy can really enhance my chance at winning playoff games. If you're telling me we got a guy and with 5 minutes to go of a tie game in game 2 of the first round, you're not playing him, then what the hell are we doing? Like that's how I view it. Who fits that? Malcolm Brogdon fit that?
Brogdon, reigning 6th man of the year.
You know who doesn't fit that?
Who's that?
See, I'm going to prove to him how much I watch KFT.
He's Don't say my guy, big money.
No, I'm going to say it. He's obsessed with a certain individual.
Who?
You ready for me to tell you?
Yeah.
Once a Nick, always a Nick. He loves himself some Alec Burks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I right?
Absolutely. Get Buckets Burks, number 10.
Is he on the floor?
Get Buckets Burks, baby. Could he be on the floor? Absolutely. You know why? Because he was that guy here. He was the point guard of the Knicks before Jalen Brunson.
He had a different roster back then.
But
he's a Tibbs guy. Once a Tibbs guy, always a Tibbs guy. You never know. What if the Ragoo's misfiring out there, Dante DiVincenzo, and you got Big Money Burks who's cooking off the bench? You might need him in there in crunch time.
You have a relationship with him?
I know.
No, not at all. I respect bucket getters. He's a bucket getter.
He's with the Pistons, which means he's playing basketball and it doesn't.
He's carrying a band of bums. What do you expect him to do, man? Bring him back home so he can play some serious basketball.
I think he is shooting like 40% from 3.
Always does. Always does.
So you think Alec Burks, if you got Alec Burks, 5 minutes to go.
39.2%. You're right.
Yeah. Dude, he hits his threes. I'll give him that. Yeah. And he's sort of a shot creator. I mean, a little bit.
He can get buckets. Yeah. He can get buckets.
Tiny bit.
Back in his prime. He's a little off his prime.
So let me say, they go get Alec Burks on Thursday, 257.
Yeah.
You're going to be like excited?
I'm not excited. I would say 5 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Not like he's 35.
Yeah.
He's 32. He just turned 32.
But Now, look, this is only my criteria. You don't have to agree with me.
Yeah.
But my criteria is, hey, does that guy play final few minutes of a playoff game? By the way, do you agree with that criteria?
Well, my criteria is going to be this. I need someone I can trust.
But also, what are you giving up for that? You're not giving up a ton.
You're not giving up
Oh,
a
for
ton.
Alec Burks, nothing.
Yeah, you're not giving up a ton.
So
You know what you're giving up? A KFTV hat. That's what the Pistons are taking back.
So then it should be worth it then, right? It should be.
Go get 'em.
I'm serious.
Look, whether it's Brogdon, it's Burks, or even a Clarkson, I think those guys, I can trust those guys more than a Miles McBride right now in the spot.
Yeah.
And I like McBride. He's shooting the ball very well. He's a 3-and-D player, but they need more of an engine, not a finisher. They need a starter off of that bench. If that makes sense. They need an engine off that bench.
I think those are the guys. I mean, Alec Burks maybe a little bit less, but Jordan Clarkson, Malcolm Brogdon, I don't think you have to give up a lot, and they give you that little instant microwave offense coming off the bench.
That's what
gives you a
look
playmaker off the bench, which certainly helps.
You need guys that you can trust. When you're going to go into the postseason and you got to take on the Miami Heat or the Cavs defense, or ultimately you get up to the Celtics, you need guys that you can rely on in a big spot while Brunson's on the bench. You don't want him back in with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter to play the rest of the game.
No, I'll tell you the way Thibodeau's been playing him recently, and I get it because they're banged up. It's 45 minutes a night in the postseason. Like, in the playoffs, they play 44 minutes.
They're playing 43 as it is.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so he may end up having to play mid-40s come playoff time, which is a
he
lot
will.
to ask. And I'm not even going to bring up his height because who cares? But you're going to go through first round, second round. Your hope is third round, even though we know that's not happening. That's a lot of games playing 40 minutes a night.
Why wouldn't that happen? Are you hating right now, or are you using
Sounded like
your
it.
critical thinking skills? Why wouldn't that happen?
You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Do you want to have this conversation?
Absolutely. The good people of Knicks Nation are listening right
All
now.
right, let me ask you a question. I don't want to be a bad guy. I don't think I'm a bad guy.
Okay.
But I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
You know he's the leader of the coalition of Nick haters.
Oh, absolutely. Let's go
Just
Knicks.
making sure.
Yes.
This is not about Nick hating. I'm going to have a basketball conversation. So
This
everybody,
is an independent BO.
I'm an IBO right now.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm talking to Tiki, who's a Knicks fan, even though he doesn't admit it. And, of course, CP the Fanchise, ladies and gentlemen. You know him from Knicks Fan TV. Very popular guy. I've got great respect for him. But we're going to have a conversation right now. Everybody likes to say Jalen Brunson's a superstar.
Yes.
I don't know what that means because I don't know how many superstars there are in the NBA. So whenever anyone says that, I hate to get literal, but I'm like, okay, well, how many superstars are there in the NBA? Are there 20? Are there 15? Or are there only 5? If there's only 5, Jalen Brunson's not a superstar. He's not a top 5 player. Would you agree he's not a top 5 player?
He's in my MVP ladder right now.
CP, come
In my MVP ladder right now. Bye-bye, Joel Embiid. He's out. He's off the list.
He's gone.
He's gone.
He
right?
did this to us last week, by the way, CP. Just so you know.
I have Brunson in number 6.
Really?
Absolutely.
So he's
Absolutely.
there. He's
You
there.
have him as the 6th
He's
best
there
player
for
in the
CP.
NBA right now?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You have him ahead of Jason Tatum?
Just accept it.
Yes.
I can't accept it. He just
Why?
said he's better
Yeah.
than Jason Tatum.
I'm putting Brunson
him
up
his
there.
opinion.
I am putting Brunson up there.
You ask his
I did.
expert opinion.
I did, yeah.
Maybe as a BBO, a biased basketball player. But you ask him his opinion, and he gave it to you.
All right,
so
I'll
just
put it this
accept
way.
it.
Who
Accept
are you taking in a big spot right now? Crunch time. Jason Tatum or Jalen Brunson?
No, I'm taking Jason Tatum. I am CP.
Look,
and that's not a
He's
knock.
shaking his head in dismay.
I mean,
right
Jason
here.
Tatum has led a team to an NBA Finals. Like, we're just
And
ignoring
choked.
that?
He choked.
Okay, fine. He didn't play well in
Choked.
the NBA Finals. Did he lead a team to an NBA Finals?
They were a good team.
I'm not saying they weren't a good team.
They were a good team.
Of course.
He was a big factor in it, but they were a good team.
You would take Jalen Brunson over Jason Tatum?
In a big spot?
And then when it mattered,
Absolutely.
he was not.
Absolutely. In crunch time, I'm going to number 11 over many in this game.
You know what CP just did?
Yeah.
He ruined my entire point. He didn't ruin it, though, because I just respectfully think you're nuts. And that's not a knock on Jalen Brunson. He's been amazing this season. But right now, you would take him over Jason Tatum, the best player on the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, who has a track record of doing things in the postseason?
He's played on a better team. It's part of it. It's a team sport, Evan. I
course it's a
like
team.
Brunson. Top 4 in scoring in the league right now. 20 games of 30 plus or more.
Yeah.
30 points in 9 out of his
get
last
you.
11 games.
I get
He's captain clutch.
He's been
finished
great.
last year top 3 or top 5 in clutch scoring.
Look, I love Jalen Brunson. Last week, I agreed with the fact that he's the new king of New York, surpassing Aaron Judge. Do you even agree with that as a Yankee Knicks fan? Oh, you're in a tough spot now, CP. Jalen's the new king of New York. You can admit it. That's all right.
Yeah, I'm putting Brunson.
He had no choice.
All rise, man. And Judge is my guy. I'm putting Brunson up there. I'm putting him up there.
He'll take it back. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Take it back.
Yeah.
Was he taking it back?
I mean, the Knicks are not winning a championship.
Don't
this
say
year.
that in front of him.
Oh, sorry.
What the
My
hell would
bad.
you say
Listen,
that?
My bad. I'm just saying.
They have work to do, but your point was
Yeah.
that they couldn't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
No, I think they
Right?
can. I think they could make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I have a tough time believing that they can get to the NBA Finals. I have a tough time believing they'll beat Milwaukee. I have a tough time believing they're beating Boston. You're right about Philly. I mean, what happened to Embiid, and then you're welcome,
Right.
by the way, for Saturday, because without Embiid, Ben Simmons slapped them Philadelphia cheesesteaks all over the place.
Ben Simmons.
For 17 glorious minutes. Cleveland, I'm skeptical of. I think we all are.
Yeah.
You gotta be, because you know why? I'm
Yeah, they
skeptical?
are. They just jumped us, but whatever.
They
I
were-
got it.
But they were so soft last year in that
They were.
first round.
They were.
Well, they were just they're constructed poorly. That's what it was last year. They get two small guards. So
Yeah.
And
they're also-
eventually you just get dominated when you have two small guards and you're kind of ambivalent to defense. That's what happens when in the postseason.
And you've got bigs who are like, oh no, Julius.
He hit me.
Listen,
no.
Mitch and
He
Isaiah
bodied me.
Hartenstein dominated those guys.
Yeah.
Now, the only concern is, are there reinforcements? Do they make them better when they become a full unit once Mobley comes back?
Yeah.
Garland just came back last week. They have Strus. They have Niang. They have some three-point firepower. And their defense has been steady.
No doubt.
So you have to still look out for them. Even Miami. I still look out for Miami.
100%.
You have to respect them.
Indiana, once they're they're a dangerous teams in there. But I would never say to you, then I would be a hater if I said, oh, the Knicks couldn't beat those teams. That'd be ridiculous. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'd pick you to beat Cleveland, and a part of that is a bias from last year, what you guys did to them. I guess I'm still very skeptical of getting past Milwaukee and Boston. I think what's happened over the last few weeks is I'm no fan of Glenn Rivers. Okay, I think he's very overrated. That's why I don't call him Doc anymore. He's not a doc.
He's not a doctor of anything.
What the hell's he a doc for?
Second, I was like, who are you talking about?
But there's been this assumption
another
of
kid?
now that Glenn Rivers is there, the Bucks will find a way to lose in a big spot because that's what Glenn has done. Well, so is Tom Thibodeau. Like, I don't think Glenn Rivers has accomplished
Yeah, but he didn't
less.
have the teams, though. He didn't have the teams.
He had the 1 seed twice with Chicago.
Yeah, it's different. I feel like that was eons ago.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a different era of basketball ago.
But it existed.
I know, but it's not close enough to our current understanding of the game, or at least appreciation of the game, to be relevant.
Okay, all I'm saying then is it's very difficult to say Glenn Doc Rivers is a loser and then pivot quickly to Tom Thibodeau's a winner. He hasn't done it yet.
See, I don't necessarily think it's a Doc thing. I think the Bucks, as they're built, they're a fundamentally flawed team, especially on the defensive end. There's vulnerabilities everywhere. When you look at the point of attack, whether it's Damian Lillard, Malik Beasley, how does Chris Middleton defend on an injured knee?
Yeah,
I think
he looks cooked.
they're
Yeah,
not the same
unfortunately.
team, so I'm not sure Doc can go in there and cure all their ills. They do have two of the best superstars in the game that can help carry them through their flaws. But what I like about this Knicks team, where a lot has to go right, yes, but when healthy, let's put this team at full strength. Let's say Julius comes back, OG comes back. You have the star firepower with Julius and Jalen, even though Julius is a question mark. I think defensively is where things change for the Knicks with the addition of Anunoby.
Yeah.
They're better at the point of attack. They're physical.
Right.
They get after it on the boards. They scrap.
Right. He can
And
switch. He
he
can
can
cover whatever
switch.
you need. Whatever you need.
They can
do
get
it.
rebounds. Depending on what they do at the deadline, hopefully they get some bench help. And they have a little bit more shooting efficiency this year. With Anunoby and what DiVincenzo's given you, you have efficient shooters on the corner threes. They are also efficient, at least Anunoby is, at the basket. That helps. And then in crunch time, if you can scrape and claw your way to the end, then you give it to Jalen Brunson, not Jason Tatum. You give it to Brunson to close the show. And that's why I give the Knicks a chance. The East is kind of vulnerable right now.
Well, the East definitely, I was saying this the other day about this team versus the 13 team, the team that won 54 games.
Yeah.
That as a Knick hater, I'll speak as a Knick hater right now, I'll be honest. Before I was an IBO, I'm back to being a hater.
Thank you for identifying the helmet you're wearing.
I just
right
want to
now.
be honest, the way I viewed it. I looked at that 13 team, and I always knew in the back of my mind, you ain't beating LeBron. I always knew it. Like, okay, maybe you beat Indiana, which you didn't in that series, but even if you did, I got my ace in the hole to stop you. And I would agree that Boston and Milwaukee, and those are the only two teams I'll mention because screw Philadelphia, especially now, I don't have the same level of trust in them that I would have in LeBron. Because even though the Celtics have been to an NBA Finals, and even though the Bucks have won an NBA title, even though we all know how they won that NBA title with the dirty Giannis injuring Kyrie Irving, but whatever, they are not the same kind of reliable team of, like, you can't beat them. because I can understand how you could talk yourself into beating them.
Yeah.
Which, with LeBron in 13, you never could. Like, even deep down, you probably knew that. Like, we're good, we're fun, 54. Well, we can't beat that team.
And even in the regular season,
That team doesn't exist. But you knew it didn't mean anything.
Yeah, I did.
I felt the same thing, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Because the following year, I think the Nets swept the Miami Heat. I swear to God, like 4-0. And I knew. I was like, this don't mean anything. We faced them in the playoffs. They're going to smoke us. And guess what? They did.
Yeah. But you're right. I don't see any. Look, the Celtics are having a great season.
They're a very
I can't
good team,
put
yes.
it past them.
Yeah.
But they've shown since last year that they are vulnerable in the postseason. Who comes up clutch? Can Tatum come up clutch? How will Jalen Brown do? You know, those guys are still important
Smart's
pieces to
gone.
the puzzle. Smart is gone.
No doubt. He got his big tribute the other day. Nice video tribute and a standing ovation.
Yeah.
We'll come back. We'll get to some of your calls as well, 877-337-6666. But two things I definitely want to hit on. Trusting a healthy Julius Randle in the playoffs and more specificity on other guys that could fit this team at the deadline before Thursday.
It's a Sunday night, and you're like, hey, what's on? Oh, watch the Pro Bowl? It's flag football. Baker Mayfield won the MVP, by the way.
Did he?
Whatever the hell that means.
Good for him.
So you're not watching that.
Yeah, but you
You're
would say that
you're
about
not-
any city
you're
in
like,
America.
Oh, wait, the Grammys are on. Oh, that's our girl. She comes to our games.
So now
I want
she's
to watch that.
their girl?
Of course. She went to more Kansas City games than she did at any other team in any sport, right?
I don't know, man. I'm sort of surprised. The city of Kansas City was the highest rated city to watch the Grammys last night because they want to watch Taylor Swift get a few awards and dance awkwardly.
It was the opposite of what we've been dealing with. I'll use the phrase with Travis Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs fans were waiting to see Travis Kelce. He unfortunately is getting ready to play a Super Bowl, so he wasn't there.
Now, Tiki asked me and CP the Fanchise is with us. We'll get back to the Knicks in a second. He asked us a very interesting question right before we were coming back. You can ask us now on air.
The question, and Sean and all the guys in the newsroom, Manny and Gallo, were talking about this.
Go ahead.
Who is the male Taylor Swift right now?
Someone of that sheer popularity.
Males would gravitate towards him.
And the background on this is Ryan Hickey works over at the network.
Yes.
Proclaimed last night on Twitter, Tom Brady is the male Taylor Swift.
No,
he's getting
he's not.
shredded.
And he's not.
No.
Because there's just too much like non-love of Tom Brady. It's like universal love of Taylor Swift. Like, who is that from a male standpoint? And I'm only asking this because we need consensus, like social media consensus, because I have no idea.
I think I have it, and it may fit right into something Evan was talking about earlier. I think it's The Rock.
The Rock.
Because remember, it's not just the wrestling thing. Who doesn't love The Rock movies, the acting stuff?
Who doesn't love The Rock? Right now,
Only
90% of Twitter
No,
doesn't love
but
The
they
Rock.
still love a good Rock movie.
You know what? Before Cody, maybe. Maybe. BC Rock, maybe.
You know who CP's thinking? He's thinking it's Jalen Brunson.
Totally.
No, listen, I got Kelce himself. You know, you got everybody wanting to mimic his haircut. He's got the #1 podcast out, him and his brother. It's called Higher Heights or whatever it's called.
I think we're
World's
being
his oyster
myopic.
right
I think we got to think about somebody outside of sports.
I think his answer is probably the most accurate I've heard so far, that it is Travis Kelce.
I mean,
Is there a musician version of Taylor Swift, a male musician right now? I don't think it's like that.
I don't think there's an actor. I don't think there's a musician. I don't think there's an athlete. Because I think with athletes, like, they're hated by half the people
Yeah.
usually. There's very
Honestly,
few
man, pre-slap, Will Smith was probably up there.
pre-slap Will Smith.
that's a good call.
Pre-slap.
I don't know.
He's
I think his
falling off
days
the
are
face
over.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, no. This was before the slap.
Yeah. What about Harry Styles?
Harry Styles is very popular.
What
I
about Harry
don't know.
Styles?
I don't know. How many, with all due respect to Harry Styles, a lot of people he'd fall on in Times Square wouldn't know it's Harry Styles.
That's a good point.
By the way, I'm one of them.
I'm one of them too. I just threw the name out.
You wouldn't even recognize him.
You know his name. You just don't know what the hell he looks like.
I don't think as males there's anybody, honestly. I just don't think there is anybody. I think that Taylor's, and I said this when we were talking about Taylor last week before that, she is top 3 most popular woman in America right now. The only people that come close, in my opinion, and I mentioned it, Beyonce,
Right.
who was there last night with Jay-Z ripping the Grammys.
Ripping everybody.
Which was funny.
And he's not wrong.
No, he's not. And
Should
then-
he have said it? No, but he's not wrong.
You know what? He should have said it because here's the thing. It's his he believes it, number one, so who cares? And number two, Beyonce could say all she wants or look all she wants of, I didn't approve of that. Trust me. I think she was pretty damn mad.
No. I got it.
Who?
It's Justin Timberlake.
Oh, screw him.
No way.
Right
Are
now?
you serious?
No.
That guy's such a douche.
Are we going? Are we
You have
going?
a hot Timberlake
See,
thing?
look at his reaction. Look at my reaction. And you know that's not the answer.
Nah, it's not just
Are we
Timberlake.
going popularity or fan base wise, like amount of fans?
No. Just like the guy who gives you the feeling like Taylor Swift.
Messi.
If he was American.
I think Messi's a good choice.
Right. If
Yeah.
he was American, it'd be Messi. Because
But we've kind of adopted him now.
Yeah,
as
but-
a honorary
Who
American
does he
now.
play
He's
for?
playing
Who does he play
Miami.
for?
Miami.
Miami.
No, you just know that because we just said it. Yeah.
No, I did know
Who did he
that.
play for before?
Before he came here,
Yeah.
Argentina.
Who was his club?
He had well, I don't know. There's so many
All right, so
clubs
that's my
in
point.
soccer.
That's my point. If he was American and he was as great as he was, it would be Messi.
All right. So, but basically, the answer is there's nobody. Snoop ain't the answer either. There is no male version of Taylor Swift.
Right.
That's what we've come to the conclusion. Let's get to some of your calls. More with CP. Obviously, the trade deadline's coming up on Thursday. Mario's in Long Beach. What's up, Mario?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good.
What's up?
Nice to have JR there. Nice to hear him.
CP.
CP, the franchise. No
fan-
no
Yeah,
R.
franchise,
No
Get his
R. No
damn
R.
name right.
Franchise. No R.
Sorry,
No R.
sorry about that.
Yeah.
You know, I would just quick thing on the Knicks game, and then I have a quick 5 things who the Knicks should get. The Knicks game is very interesting. The Laker game, they would not have won the game if they did not double team Brunson. They would not have won.
Well, but that's a good strategy when
It's a good
everybody's
strategy.
hurt.
Yeah, I'm not denying the strategy. But what I think, and you
Well, they
tell me
won the
what you
game
think
because
about
they
this.
double teamed Brunson.
But every single time, I haven't. When's the last time?
Okay,
you saw a
so
player
somebody
get
else got to
double
go
teamed?
score. And the problem
Yeah,
is they
of
don't
course,
have
you're
those
right.
guys.
Oh,
Right.
Mario, that's what, and this is a defense of CP when we were talking earlier about where he ranks. That's what you do to superstars. When there's a great player on the floor, you make sure that they can't beat
Right.
you.
Anybody but Brunson.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, my question to you, CP, is this, and everybody else there, is I think they would have been better off once he was getting double teamed to bring in McBride, because at least McBride can dribble the ball, he can score a little. They had 3 people on the court that couldn't even score worth a
you
lick.
get
You got
really small
Hartenstein,
then,
You get
don't
small.
you got that power forward, right? And you got 3 guys. The only other guy who could score was DiVincenzo. So that's what happened. They
Right, but
couldn't
think
even
how.
score.
But hold on, Mario. Think how small you are. Right. Think how little you are at that point.
Yeah, I know that, but if you get double teamed, and when you pass out of the double team, nobody can dribble, you're going to lose the game. I'll take a chance.
That's
Okay,
why.
but then you take a shot, you're immediately out rebounded, and if you get stuck in a half court, you're screwed. Right? That's not a good answer. Right? It's just not a good answer.
McBride out there would make them incredibly small. And the thing is, I don't think there's a player out there right now that Tom Thibodeau trusts more than Josh Hart. Like,
Right.
Josh Hart's not coming out the game.
But he won't shoot.
He won't shoot.
Right.
But he'll do the little things. He'll get rebounds. He'll play physical. Plays respectable defense. That's a Tibbs guy. He's not going anywhere.
What's funny about Josh Hart is you remember back to last year's postseason. That shot against Cleveland, game 1 of that series, was one of the most clutch shots we've seen. And yet when you watch him shoot over the last few weeks and months, it's like, And it's almost
It's like he's
impossible.
lost his confidence. A little. It feels like it.
Yeah, it's almost
Confidence
amazing
gone.
to think that's the same human being who hit one of the biggest shots of that first round against Cleveland.
Yeah, I joked about it on my show today. It's, he's a high-octane player. He likes to get fast break and go pedal to the metal and put pressure on the rim. When you keep him in the half court, that's when things get a little bit dicey with Josh Hart. No confidence in his jump shot right now.
All right, so here's the other thing. You got to have the fit make sense. What was so great about the OG trade is that it fit like a puzzle. It fit like a glove.
Right.
So there's one guy out there, and my concern is fit more than what he still has as a player, and that's DeMar DeRozan.
I knew you were going to say that, man.
Could you agree with me?
Yeah.
It's just
I do.
the fit doesn't.
Meaning you agree you don't like him.
I don't like the fit.
Yeah.
It's just that's the problem. Like I get the idea of but he'll give you instant offense. Ball in his hands late in the game. Jalen's double. Boy, DeRozan get a big shot. I agree with all that. He's not a great three-point shooter is what it is. He's excellent mid-range. He's not the same guy he used to be. He's lost a step defensively. But more than anything, it's not even all the descriptions of him as a player. Like that fit, especially when Julius is healthy, it just feels like, doesn't work.
It feels like my turn, your turn basketball.
Yes.
And the tricky thing about DeMar DeRozan is, from what we've been hearing based on all the guys on the beat, is that they want to acquire a player with a little bit of time left on his contract so that they'll have some wiggle room to maybe trade that player in the future. DeMar DeRozan would be a free agent headed into the offseason, so that one gets a little bit trickier.
Would that be a priority, though? Like, I get the idea of having a guy under team control because I can use him in a said bigger trade, but isn't it more, does this guy help me now? Can he help me win now?
I think it always has been with the Knicks under this regime. They've always tried to take a prudent approach with the guys that they bring in because they're always looking further down the road and making sure that whatever the move that they do make, they don't handcuff you.
Well, it brings up the follow up to that is like, is this a win now team? Are they trying to do that? Does it feel like the Knicks are trying to do that? Because I don't know. I mean, I get the OG trade, fantastic. I get it.
And he's a free agent at the end of the year, but the plan is obviously to resign.
Right, it's to resign him, but it was kind of like, all right, we got to do something now. Let's do something so we can win now. And so I feel like they're in win mode, but they're. I also don't feel like they're being as aggressive as they should be if they're in win now. So it's a weird dynamic, if that makes sense.
It is. I believe they are in win now mode.
Yeah.
They're just not desperate. They're not desperate to go out there and get Dame or that next piece. It has to be right.
But shouldn't they?
If it's not right,
It's got to be the right guy.
It's got to be the right guy.
I agree with CP. Like, it depends individual to individual, especially now when it's not fantasy basketball.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not 2K, as they say. It's literally, I play 2K all the time with my son, but it's WWE 2K.
Of course.
But whenever people try to make trades, it's like, this ain't freaking 2K, especially in the NBA more than like baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball, it's like, that's a good hitter. You don't have to worry about fit. Like, literally, is he good?
Right.
Add him to your lineup.
I don't like that guy. Okay, he's just stand up and play. You're sitting in the dugout. You're good.
It doesn't matter. But in basketball, it's fit. So, like, DeJounte Murray, that's the other name. And my team's actually really involved in this, which is another story. Does he fit? Like, he hasn't been the same defensively since he's gone to Atlanta. He needs the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
I'm, like, kind of mixed about that. I'd be more okay, and again, IBO here, I'm not being a Nick hater in all seriousness. DeRozan fit doesn't make sense. DeJounte, I'm more confused about the fit.
More than DeRozan?
More that I can see it working. I can talk myself into that working more than I could DeRozan. DeRozan, I know it's not a good fit. DeJounte, it's like, I don't think he's a good fit, but he's a good defender.
Yeah.
It's a reasonable, like, I can talk myself into it more.
It's tricky with him, but the one thing I like about DeJounte this year is he's shooting the ball a little bit better, especially off ball. So it gives you a little bit of encouragement that if they did bring him in here to play him alongside Jalen Brunson, he could be a respectable outside threat for them. But you're right, it hasn't worked out with Trae Young. He hasn't really been the same guy at an all-star level that he was when the ball in his hands with the Spurs. And so that's another tricky fit there. It's not working out in Atlanta. Why do they want to move on from him?
Yeah, this quickly, too.
Quickly.
Considering how many picks they gave up.
Right.
And they're asking for 2 number ones.
That's what you're
That's what they're asking for right now.
Yeah.
2 number ones at Evan Fournier for DeJounte Murray.
They're not doing it.
You're not doing it?
I don't see them doing it.
Interesting.
Don't love that either.
Huh?
I'm
So
still thinking about this male version of Taylor.
You know what? You know what? Since you're thinking about it, here's David in Whitestone. He wants to help you out. What's up, David?
What's up, David?
Hello, guys. How are you?
We're good, man.
Wonderful.
Good. First of all, I'm getting really ready for baseball season. I know we're talking all different things, but I'm ready for pitches and catches. I can't wait.
I understand.
But I'm calling actually about your Taylor Swift male version.
Okay.
And I came up, the first thing I thought of was Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
John Wick.
There are no bad
John
answers.
Wick. First of all, well, hear me out. First of all, the women love him.
Oh, you're being serious.
Second of all, the guys love him. He's a killer. He's he kicks butt. Point Break. He's surfing.
Bill and
Whatever else,
Ted's.
right?
He's versatile. He's a versatile actor, man.
And second of all, he's a great humanitarian. People love that side of him.
Right. No, he is a great.
Well,
From all you hear, he is a great.
I'm not
dude.
gonna make
The
fun of
problem
him
is
being
he's
a
not
great
visual enough.
Yeah.
Like he's not.
Yeah.
He's not like out there. Well, maybe that is the male version.
No, it's not.
No, hold on.
No.
Hold on. If you're a male, and this isn't a knock on females, but if you're the male and you're the man, are you trying to be the man, or are you just kind of just I'm the
In the
man?
cut. Just kind of
I'm in the cut.
playing your
'Cause think about it,
position.
I remember this even when I was playing. I wasn't even close to being the man of the league. I was in the cut, bro. If you knew I was there, I was there. But if you didn't know nothing. I was in the cut. Keanu Reeves might be that guy because he's the male version of Keanu Reeves. Of Taylor Swift is not what Taylor Swift is doing. Like, look at me. Look how many outfits I got. I'm in my underwear, my new album cover. Like, all this stuff.
You're putting CP in a tough spot here
I'm just
because he's
not.
a big Giant fan. He admires you. You're a big Tiki guy, right? I love
Absolutely.
Tiki Barber.
Absolutely.
And yet in your brain, you're like, what a schmuck. That's what you're thinking right now.
No. Only thing I will take Tiki to task on, and I've been meaning to bring this up.
Uh-oh.
The other night, you guys went on an excursion to what's the place called? You guys call it the Clays? What's it called?
We don't call that
Okay.
anymore.
All right.
We just call it Barclays Center.
Okay, we moved on. Knicks and Nets.
Yes.
Going on.
Yeah.
Knicks are putting in work. They're beating the brakes out of the team in the fourth quarter.
Here?
What's up with leaving early?
You
man?
too?
We
You too?
It's orange and blue skies, Tiki,
Dude.
man. We can't have that.
Okay.
It was a tie game with 3 minutes to go. So you weren't even beating our ass quite yet. And tie game, 3 minutes to go. He puts his fist out and says, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm like, he's
I'm out.
joking, right?
I'm out.
And you allowed this? Is this the culture in your building?
Oh, no, don't
Is this if this was my building? I'd say, hey, where you going? Have a seat.
I can't force him. I can't put a seatbelt around him. But I admonished him.
I don't like crowds, and I didn't want to be in the masses because it's a pain in the ass getting into the Barclays. It is a pain in the ass getting out of the Barclays. And I knew that if I left at the end of the game, it'd be 30 extra minutes getting home, maybe 40. By the time
He's got to come to a Knicks game.
By
That's just what it is.
by the Knicks, I could stay.
Tiki, you
Because it's
shouldn't
the
allow
tunnel
this.
right there.
You should allow. CP, you have a problem with Tiki. Let me ask you something. You go to all these Knicks games. You ever sit outside your car in the garden and eat a tuna fish sandwich before going to a game with the boys?
Oh, you're attacking me for that?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks
You
for
know
having my
what?
back.
It's
Brian.
funny. When I go to Madison Square Garden, because as CP notes, I am a Knicks season ticket holder. I always eat at the Garden. You want to know why? Because I'll say it. I call it like it
food's
is.
better? Yeah.
Their food's better.
Let's go Knicks.
Dude, on the Chase Bridge, they got those paninis. You ever have those paninis on the Chase Bridge?
No, I'm usually in the Delta Club, man.
Come on now. Come on.
Timer.
Big time over there. Well,
Usually in
next
the Delta Club.
time
The
you're
Daily
with-
Burgers, man. They're good, man.
when you're with the riffraff on the Chase Bridge, where I sit, they got these paninis to die for. At Barclays Center,
Yeah. By the way, I had to go home to my wifey.
I mean, it's the Knicks.
I know.
But just finish it. Tell them the rest of it.
That's why.
Because she
I
promised.
had to watch the show.
No.
I told you.
Which
I had
one?
to watch a show.
It wasn't the show.
Go smash into that hole right there.
Let's go to Lenny's in Levittown. What's up, Lenny?
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you?
What's up,
Lady.
dude?
Good.
So, 2 quick points if I can. I think the only player that really makes sense to add to this team is Brogdon. And the only reason I say that is because Jalen Brunson, to be the superstar that we hope that he is and the superstar that he's been in this recent stretch, he needs the ball in his hand. So, like, the Murray fit doesn't make sense to me at all, or DeMar DeRozan. They're two.
Yeah.
For them to be good, they need the ball in their hands, and they need to be creating shots for themselves. Where then that takes away kind of what Jalen Brunson is and what makes him so great. So I think Brogdon coming off the bench, alleviating a little bit of that necessity for Brunson to bring the ball up. Like the reason we lost to the Lakers was because Tibbs didn't want to play McBride.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? And we had nobody else to play point guard because as good as Dante is, he's not a point guard. That's not what he is. So I think Brogdon makes a lot of sense because he also fits the scheme defensively, and he helps alleviate some of that ball handling pressure that Brunson has to carry. And second point, if I can, the thing that scares me more than our roster, more than not having a backup point guard, is Tibbs. Tibbs scares me to help because he doesn't adjust ever. He has one way of playing. He makes no adjustments. Everyone knows how we're going to play day in and day out. And so far it's been good. But when it comes to the playoffs, you see why a Spoelstra gets the best of him. You see why the Bulls, maybe didn't reach, the mountains that they probably could have with such a great roster. It's because he only knows how to play one way. And he never switches up, ever.
Yeah, listen, it's all fair, man. What I like about Brogdon is he's a steady Eddie, man. And he's very reliable when he's healthy, right? Now he's healthy. He's 15-5, 40% from 3 on 5 attempts. You can trust him. Now, will he stay healthy if they get him? That's another story. On Tibbs, look, get used to it. He's going to be the Knicks coach for this foreseeable future. He's in year 4 out of a 5-year deal. I think he's going to get an extension by the offseason. And is he, and a coach that makes adjustments like a Spoelstra or a Ty Lue? No, he's not. He's not that guy.
Well, that's a problem. I mean, look, we could all kind of make fun of Glenn Doc Rivers all we want, but in that series last year against Eric Spoelstra, we knew who the better coach was. And we saw it, not just based on reputation. We saw it. So it's tough. Like, I agree with you. He deserves a contract extension. Tom Thibodeau's done a really good job overall, but I think those are fair concerns about getting to the next level.
Very fair. I just think that the relationship between Leon Rose and Tibbs, they're such a lockstep. And things can change in sports, right? One minute you're in the penthouse, next year in the outhouse on the unemployment line. But I don't think the Knicks are at the stage yet where they say, are we a coach away from realizing all of our goals? I think they're still in talent acquisition mode. Tibbs is Celtic culture. He set the foundation, and the team's bought in. They're playing hard for him.
You know, Tiki asked earlier, are they a win now, all-in team? Obviously, you want to be smart. You want to play the long game. I wouldn't suggest do something that stupid that kind of screws you in the years moving forward, but they are in this weird spot. I sort of feel this with the Nets, with your guy, Mikal Bridges, because he's your guy, because you're obsessed with trading for him.
The last infinity stone. You like that? That set him off bad on Twitter, man. He was tight. Yeah, he was very tight.
Well, then Boomer this morning.
He's just jealous because it's his infinity stone.
Well, because he's mine, he's not yours, and you're not getting him.
He wants to
what am I
keep
going to tell you? He's not going to your team.
It's like hoarding it like Dr. Strange.
No, by the way, in all seriousness, I would be open to trading Mikal Bridges. I think the Nets, with where they are, have to be open to everything. They suck. Yeah. Like, I would listen on offers for Mikal Bridges. I don't think your team has the offer that would entice me to do it. And a part of that's a compliment. You guys are too good. Like, what do your first-round picks don't mean that much to me. Now, the Rockets giving me back my first-round picks, that's appealing to me.
Yeah.
But
they could. Oh, they can't trade the picks that they have from other teams, though.
No, but they could trade our picks back to us. But here's the pressure I feel with Bridges that I can see you guys feeling with Brunson and Randle, and that's their contracts. Yep. Mikal Bridges is a steal of a contract. Jalen Brunson, who has this year and next year, is making $26 million.
About that. Biggest steal.
That is nothing for a guy as good as he is. Even Julius, as much as we may agree in being skeptical of him in the postseason, he's making nothing. So the problem is when their contracts expire at the end of next year, you guys are going to keep them. I'm not saying they're leaving, but you're going to have to pay them. And now all of a sudden...
Yeah, but what's wrong with that?
The flexibility to do other stuff. Yeah. So when I say go for it now, I'm not certainly suggesting screw the future. No, but I think you do have this tick-tock of, boy, I got to take advantage of the fact that I have these really good players making below what they should be making.
Yeah. No, you're right. That window is closing fast where they've got to make a move before they give Brunson the big bag because I think he's going to get northwards of 50. Julius Randle, what are they going to do with him? Are they going to trade him or extend him? And then don't forget OG Anunoby.
You're right.
He's going to get northwards of $30 million here. I mean, his agent is Leon Rose's son. Right. So before that trade was even made, I believe that contract framework is already on the kitchen table. So they have that short window there. But what I love about this team, Evan, is, 4 years ago, back in 2019, man, when I thought this team was going to get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and they didn't get them.
I'm aware.
I thought it was Mayday here, man. Now you look at it in 2024, we got 2 All-Stars in this town. You got Kevin Durant saying, don't give me any tributes. I don't even care about you people.
Right.
And it's orange and blue skies here, man.
Right. And it happened relatively quickly.
Yeah. We're in a great spot.
Beautiful skies.
Come on. You're straddling the fence.
I ain't straddling any damn fence.
Come on over. Wait a minute. Oh, no, you weren't at the Indiana game.
I was not at the
when
Indiana
you serenaded him with MVPs. I was wondering what your reaction was going to be.
Let's go Knicks.
Yeah.
I will be there throughout the playoffs rooting for the other team, and you know it. And I can't wait. But we appreciate you coming in. It's always good to hang out with you.
Always a pleasure, man.
It's a thrill, bro.
KFTV, I advise every Knicks fan watch it. You guys do a great job. I enjoy watching you, even after wins, but mostly after losses. The voice of Knicks fan.